Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Here's another one for you to look at. So the Shaykh says, وَلَا يَجُوزُ الْإِسْتِجَارُ عَلَى الْأَذَانِ وَالْإِقَامَةِ وَتَعْلِيمِ الْقُرْآنِ وَالْحَجِّ. It's not permissible to take money for adhan, to call the prayer, for iqamah, that's the call to prayer just before the prayer, and you're not allowed to take money for teaching Quran or Hajj, and it's not permissible to take money ghina, singing, if you like, and for mourning. So we'll come back to the last part, which is about singing and mourning. So this is an interesting masala, because this was the original position, that you're not supposed to take money for adhan, you're not supposed to take money for the call to prayer, and it can be extended to other things, and you can't take money for Hajj. Now, of course, in our time, people take money, people pay money, people pay the Imām, people pay to go Hajj, and the people take money for taking you on Hajj. Why has that changed? So again, my point that I mentioned in one of the videos before, that it's very important not to just know the ruling, but it's also important to know the time that you're living in, the era that you're living in. So we're going to go through this very, very quickly. So here it is. So the question is, why can't you take money for adhan and teaching Quran, etc.? لأن هذه طاعات. They are acts of obedience, and everything that's an act of obedience has to be done by Muslims, and it's not in other words, it's your responsibility as a ummah to take care of that duty and not take money for it. And it's not appropriate that money should be taken for it. So money should be not taken for these acts. And then he gives a tradition of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam: read the Quran and don't eat from it. In other words, don't take money from it. And then it's also mentioned about Uthman. So he's quoting Uthman bin Abil As, who also has a statement that don't take money for the adhan, for example, don't pay them. But this is really important, and I've kind of put brackets around it. Wal-fatwa al-yawm ala jawaz. But today the fatwa is permissibility, like they can take money. Al-yawm, this is telling you that things have changed. The paradigm has shifted. This is very, very important, because it's giving you an insight that despite the position being that it's not allowed, we're going to disagree, or we're going to come out with a different view. And what do we do? Well, this is because of need. هذا هو مذهب المتأخرين. This is the madhab of the mutaakhirin, that they said that it's allowed, from the scholars of Balkh, right? And they've said it's necessary because there's a weakness in the matters of religion. So we're not living in an ideal society anymore, and things have changed. The society has changed. So the fiqh, our thinking, remember, fiqh is not the law. Fiqh is about thinking deeply. The fiqh, deep reflection, requires that we need to protect the religion. The sanctity of religion and passing on to the next generation is very, very important. And people are lazy in these matters as well. And so it's in the same way that you should take money for imamah, because people don't want to be imams anymore. So we should encourage them and pay them to make sure that we have someone to lead our matters في هذا اليوم, in our days, right? لأن الأئمة كانت لهم. So people in those days, in those days they used to كانت, right? In the past they used to get money from the Baytul Mal, the treasury. But today that doesn't happen, because of oppression and various other factors. And so this is what he is saying. But he says, look, some other things are not allowed. Like you can't take money for writing books and so forth, because this is not the way it's done. But this can change as well. Now, why did we say the teaching of Quran and these sort of things, right? That okay. So he's basically saying that these things, the original position was that you shouldn't take money for these things. But society has changed. Al-yawm, 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 3 times is mentioned. This is why reading text is very, very important. But having a mind where you deeply reflect upon what is necessary. The fuqaha realize that protecting our religion is very, very important. And so because the world had shifted, the way they thought about things was a deep reflection as well. So I've just shared that with you. This is again from the Kitabul Ijara. And so even though many of these laws might not be applied in our day and age, because we live in the West and the law of land we follow the law of the land, at the same time you get a deep insight into how the Hanafi fuqaha, the ones that most of us follow, or most Muslims follow, were deeply engaging with the Quran and the Sunnah. If you've liked this, you found this useful, please do let me know, and I'll try and promote and make more videos on fiqh. Assalamu alaikum.